Welcome to our veterans, our students, our educators, and our families. My name is ANTHEM Bennon. I'm the superintendent of the school district of Sheboygan Falls. We would like to take a moment to thank our veterans, our active duty service members, our guardsmen, and our reservists for the service they have given to our country. Things this year are going to look a little different. In the past, we've had a very grandiose celebration for our veterans in our school with our band and our choir and speakers and other performers. This year, we're doing a virtual Veterans Day program. We hope you enjoy it. In education, not only do we feel it's important for our students and our educators to be able to learn to recognize our veterans, but we always also feel that's important for us to teach our students what Veterans Day is about and where their freedom comes from. Part of our practice this year in our buildings are that our educators worked with our learners to develop and write letters and cards for our veterans in the community. We worked in unison with our Legion to have these delivered to our veterans. We would like to thank all of the educators and all of our learners that have participated in the making of this video today. We truly appreciate their help, and we truly appreciate the dedication of our veterans in our community. We hope you enjoy our video. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. This is Carson Gare. At this time, I would like to invite you to stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Greetings. I'm Mary LOFY Blahnik, and I serve as the Director of Curriculum for our school district. I'm both excited and honored to introduce our guest speaker today, who is joining us virtually all the way from Colorado Springs, Colorado. He is not only my favorite veteran, but he's also my brother. Lieutenant Colonel Pete LOFY, retired, served 25 years in the U.S. Army. After retiring, he became very active in a program called Project Healing Waters Fly Fishing. It's a therapeutic outdoor recreation program for the disabled military members, using the sport of fly fishing as a rehabilitation tool. Pete also continues to work as a civilian for the military at Peterson Air Force Base in Colorado Springs.
Hello, everyone. Hello, Mary, and I'm very honored to be here talking to you today, and honored to do this for my favorite sister and excellent administrator you have there. I've done this years before for my wife's classes, so I'm glad I get to do it for some of my home state Wisconsin classes. So I want to talk about a couple of things today, but first, I know you all know your history, but I will talk a little bit about where Veterans Day comes from. So you probably know it came from World War I and the end of hostilities in World War I, not necessarily the end of the war, but Armistice Day was declared on the 11th day of the 11th month at the 11th hour. And the war went on for some months after that, but most of the heavy fighting had stopped. So that was supposed to be the war to end all wars. And unfortunately, we've had some more wars after that. But in all those wars, a common denominator is soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines that go out and serve their country, fight for their country, and try to do well and fight for in the name of good. So that's kind of a background to where Veterans Day came from. It was years after Armistice Day that it was actually recognized as Veterans Day and a holiday. And some states take it as a holiday. You get a day off school, and some states don't. That kind of varies. I don't think there's any disrespect meant to veterans or Armistice Day. That's just more of a matter of what's got to happen. So a little bit about me. As Mary said, I was 25 years in the Army. I moved 13 times, which meant I moved my family 13 times. My last move, when I moved to Colorado, my youngest son, Maxwell, who now goes to the University of Wisconsin, plays football there. He had moved 4 times at the age of 8. And sometimes that's what it means to be a veteran, is putting your family through a lot of tough times as you go through tough times. And sometimes that's really the difficulty. So yeah, I have 3 children. I'm married. My wife's a teacher, like Mary is, an educator. You have a lot of different, veterans have a lot of different experiences. So some have gone to combat, some have not. That doesn't mean one's a better veteran or lesser of a veteran than any other ones. We always talk about, war or your experience is only as difficult as what's in your foxhole. So you may have someone that was only in the Army or Navy or Air Force Marines for a couple of years, but maybe their experience was more difficult than someone like me that had been in the Army for 25 years. So I say that just so you'll understand that a veteran is a veteran is a veteran. We don't distinguish amongst ourselves who is better than the other or who went to war. Now, when you're in uniform, sometimes it's a distinction, but afterwards, we're all veterans. We all want to be treated the same way. We do what we do for our country and each other, not for the pay and not for to be used as sometimes a political weapon. So if you're meeting a vet, a lot of people are often nervous about talking to a vet about their experience. So feel free to ask a vet about what it was like to be in the military, what it was like for their family to be in the military. Vets often won't talk about their experiences in combat because sometimes that's difficult for them because sometimes they've lost a friend or someone that was close to them that they didn't think was their friend, but later on they believed them to be. But that can be a very trying time for them. It can be very trying even if they're not deployed. Sometimes being in the peacetime military, people get hurt, people die also because it's a very dangerous profession, whether you're in any of those services. So if you meet a veteran, ask a veteran, ask them some questions. They're people like you are, and we all are too. And if they don't want to talk about something, they won't tell you. But I'm sure they'll be proud of their service, proud of what they've done, and hopefully they can adjust well afterwards to life, because that sometimes is difficult when you live a life that's so very focused and purposeful. And then a lot of veterans get out of the military and they find it difficult to adjust. But if they're surrounded by people that care for them, they usually do okay. So that's kind of a message to not only you out there watching this in the great school district you're in, but to my fellow veterans that are out there. It's sometimes tough, but reach out. Don't be afraid to ask for help. There's a lot of us out there that'll help you out. So I'll just kind of end by saying, again, I'm honored to talk to you all today. I hope I gave you some insight on what it is to be a veteran. There's probably a veteran close to you now, so reach out to them and express your respect and gratitude for what they did. And for the veterans out there, don't be afraid to ask for help. We're here to help you, and I guess that's about it. So unless there's anything else, Mary, that closes it out. So have a good Veterans Day to everyone, and God bless America, I guess.
If someone has done military service, they earn the title of veteran and more. They earn our deep respect and admiration. They are special no one can ignore.
They sacrificed the comforts we enjoyed. The list is long of all the things they gave. Our veterans are extraordinary people. They're loyal, dedicated, true, and brave.
When terror and invasion were real threats, they showed us that we could handle any storm. We owe our freedoms and our very lives to our veterans who served in uniform.
Our veterans are like celebrities. They're exceptional. No other group compares. We are grateful for many things they've done. They're always in our hearts and in our prayers.
We owe our veterans support and friendship. Let no one ever question their worth. These men and women served us and our country. Our veterans, the very best on earth.
Good morning, I'm Noelle D. St. Aubin. Veterans Day is special to me because my father is recently retired from the Navy. I'm happy to introduce Paige Gutman and Aiden Friday, who will share readings about the importance of Veterans Day to us.
On November 11th, we celebrate Veterans Day with parades and Old Glory t-shirts, with salutes to those who served and prayers to those who fell. But the version of Veterans Day we know wasn't always so. It wasn't always a holiday, it wasn't always on November 11th, and at first, it wasn't even called Veterans Day. Its original intent, established in the wake of World War I, was to celebrate world peace. But the wars never ended, so Veterans Day changed. Let's start from the beginning. November 11th, 1918. At the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month, fighting between the Allied forces and Germany stopped, putting an end to the bloodshed of World War I per the terms of arms disagreement signed in France that same day. But World War I, the war to end all wars, did not officially end until 7 months later. November 11th, 1919. On the one-year anniversary of the Armistice Agreement, President Woodrow Wilson signed a proclamation commemorating November 11th as Armistice Day. The celebrations were to include parades, public meetings, and a 2-minute suspension of all business at 11 a.m. The proclamation read, "Armistice Day will be filled with a solemn pride in the heroism of those who died in the country's service and with gratitude for the victory, both because of the thing from which it has freed us and because of the opportunity it has given America to show her sympathy with peace and justice in the councils of the nations." June 4th, 1926. Congress passed a resolution urging state governors to observe Armistice Day with Thanksgiving and prayer and exercises designed to perpetuate peace through goodwill and mutual understanding between nations. At the time, 27 states had already made November 11th a legal holiday. May 13th, 1938. More than a decade later, Congress made Armistice Day an official holiday dedicated to world peace. June 1st, 1954. World War I was not the war to end all wars, and lawmakers believed that veterans from World War I and the Korean War also deserved their own day of remembrance. So President Eisenhower signed a bill changing the name of Armistice Day to the more inclusive Veterans Day, a holiday to thank all who had served the United States of America. October 12, 1954. Eisenhower published a proclamation in the Federal Register instructing citizens to recognize Veterans Day on November 11th. He wrote, "On that day, let us solemnly remember the sacrifices of all those who fought so valiantly, on the seas, in the air, and on foreign shores, to preserve our heritage of freedom. And let us reconsecrate ourselves to the task of promoting and enduring peace so that their efforts shall not have been in vain." June 28, 1968. 50 years after the Armistice Agreement, Congress passed the Uniform Monday Holiday Act of 1968, which moved Veterans Day from its original November 11th date to the fourth Monday of October. The act also declared that Memorial Day, Columbus Day, and Washington's birthday will be observed on Mondays throughout the year. The new dates were meant to take effect in 1971. October 25th, 1971. Veterans Day, federally recognized for the first time on a date other than November 11th, is celebrated with much confusion. Many states and most veterans organizations disagreed with the date change and continued to celebrate Veterans Day on November 11th, which held historic and patriotic importance. September 18th, 1975. Congress passed a bill changing the observation of Veterans Day back to November 11th, where it has remained for the 45 years since. Much has changed in the 102 years since Armistice Day was first observed. Now we honor not just servicemen, but servicewomen. Our wars were not fought with cannons, but with drones. The war to end all wars didn't end war at all. Soldiers have fought and died all over the globe. But through the past century, despite its different names and dates, the purpose of Veterans Day has remained the same, to say thanks.
Hello, my name is Aiden Friday. Ladies and gentlemen, I am honored to be speaking with you today on such an important occasion. We are here to recognize our past and current service members, to remember their achievements, their courage, and their dedication. We are here to say thank you for their sacrifices. Veterans Day is observed on November 11th each year to honor all persons who have served in any branch of the United States Armed Forces. Without them, there would be no land of the free. The history of Veterans Day originally began 102 years ago at the end of World War I on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. This day became known as Armistice Day. In 1921, an unknown World War I American soldier was buried in Arlington National Cemetery. Similarly, unknown soldiers had been buried in England and in France. All of these memorials took place on November 11th to commemorate the end of what was called the War to End All Wars. In 1926, Congress resolved to officially name November 11th Armistice Day. In 1938, the day was named a national holiday. Soon afterward, war broke out in Europe and World War II began. After the end of World War II, a veteran of that war named Raymond Weeks organized National Veterans Day with a parade and festivities to honor all veterans. He chose to hold this on Armistice Day, thus began annual observances of a day to honor veterans, not just the end of World War I. In 1954, President Eisenhower signed a bill proclaiming November 11th as Veterans Day. Due to his part in the creation of this national holiday, Raymond Weeks later received the Presidential Citizens Medal from President Ronald Reagan. In 1968, Congress changed the national commemoration of Veterans Day to the fourth Monday in October. Congress later returned the observance of Veterans Day to its traditional date, where it has remained to this day. A national ceremony commemorating Veterans Day occurs each year at the Tomb of the Unknowns at Arlington National Cemetery. Each November 11th at 11 a.m., a color guard representing all military services executes present arms at the tomb. The presidential wreath is then laid upon the tomb and a bugler plays taps. As we honor our veterans this year, we are also commemorating the 75th anniversary of D-Day, also known as the Invasion of Normandy, which occurred during World War II. D-Day, or Operation Overlord, was the largest ever amphibious military invasion. On June 6, 1944, the Allied forces of Britain, America, Canada, and France faced rough weather and fierce German gunfire as they stormed Normandy's coast. Despite tough odds and high casualties, Allied forces ultimately won the battle and helped turn the tide of World War II towards a victory against Hitler's forces. On Veterans Day, we continue to honor those who have died in service to our country, those who have returned home from duty, and those who continue to serve today. There are over 23 million living veterans in America. Give thanks to those who help to maintain our safety and the freedoms of our country. John F. Kennedy once said, "As we express our gratitude, we must never forget that the highest appreciation is not to utter words, but to live by them."
I can see.